Good evening. Welcome to South Camden Theater Company and our latest offering in our play reading series, Neighborly by David-B-Dale. We are doing some videography this evening for the benefit of the playwright. Where you see the equipment and the video artist this evening is where they'll be staged. So if it's blocking your view of anyone on the stage, I would encourage you to take a moment and change your seats. You're welcome to do that so you don't have any sightline issues. The actors will be seated for the duration of the play. So if you can't see right now at this height and you want to take a chair shift, I would encourage you to do that. So thank you for coming to the play reading series. We're very excited about this opportunity to showcase new works, and also an opportunity for the playwright to see the works read. At the conclusion of the reading, we're going to bring David on stage, and we'll take a few minutes and give him some feedback. So hopefully as you see the reading, you'll have some questions or feedback for him that helps him to continue to develop the script. We're going to take a pause in December and bring the series back in January, Monday, January 20. So we're the third Monday of every month, starting it up again in January with a very interesting play called Robin's Egg by Anna Langman that will be directed by Larry Beck. If you haven't seen God of Carnage yet, or you loved it and you want to come back and see it again, I would encourage you to do that. It's the last play in our main stage 2024 season, God of Carnage, which runs next weekend. We have just announced the 2025 season, which is inspiring and very timely, and thank our artistic director, Dawn Veralba, for putting together what will be a very important season for us. It is our 20th season here at South Camden Theater Company, and we are in the process of auditioning. So if you're an actor or know actors who are interested in auditioning for any of the 2025 season plays, I encourage people to go to our website where you'll be able to see the audition information details. So this evening's play by David-B-Dale, Neighborly, is directed by Kelci Schlierf. And Kelci, can I bring you out?
Yes, of course.
Thanks, Kelci. Thank you, Kelci.
Hello.
Kelci is going to introduce her cast, and then we'll get started. And at the conclusion of the reading, we'll carry forward with the feedback for David. Thank you. Enjoy the play.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening for a reading of David-B-Dale's Neighborly. I'd like to introduce my actors, so I'll have them come on out for you. And tonight's cast is Michelle Pauls as Brenda, Sean Begani as Bobby, Nolan Maher as Tony, and Geremy Webne-Behrman as government, neighbor, and cop. Our setting is a house and a backyard shed. On an otherwise bare stage, a set of 3 vertical tubes evenly spaced provide entrances and exits. The wings are not used. The tubes open into the playing space and to the backstage. They spin to permit access either direction. Actors who exit through one tube might re-enter the stage through another. The same stage can be living room, kitchen, or backyard. This is made space, entirely unrealistic. Act 1. Brenda and Bobby in the house. Bobby is sneaking food out of the house under his shirt.
Bobby?
Mom.
I see you there.
Obviously.
Don't be a smart aleck.
Oh, said the pot to the kettle.
What are you hiding?
Nothing, apparently, because...
Because if you were hiding anything, I wouldn't know it.
Right. Shall we start again?
That would work.
I like this game.
Bobby,
Mom.
what are you trying to hide?
Contraband, obviously. Something I don't want you to see.
Show it to me, son.
Again, don't want you to see.
Is it drugs?
No, Mom, it's not drugs.
Is it weapons?
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
What is it, another meal? You're too good to me. What do you just like in my company?
Stop, it's nothing. The food, whatever I could scrounge, and the accommodations.
Scrounge?
Scrounge? Scrounge. Scrounge, it means whatever I could gather in a hurry, or grab without looking, or do the best with what's available.
Thank you, Robert.
Bobby.
Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. I do my best to know the idioms. Or is it idiot? But I interrupted you. The accommodations?
Oh, as you can see, they're atrocious.
Youthful exaggeration. If you had ever suffered real atrocity, you wouldn't have called this atrocious.
I haven't.
Well, don't be jealous of those who have. You're a child of a privilege. I'll bet you're fond of the phrase, I'm starving.
No, I'm not. I hate kids who say that. It's an insult to people who really starve, like saying, you live in a pigsty when all you mean is pick up your clothes.
You're surprising me, Babalu. That's beautiful and wise. Were you raised by monks, prophets, mystics, seers?
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
Is it weapons?
No, it's not weapons, but this is fun. I like playing Secretive Son.
What does that make me?
Overly protective mom?
Overly?
Understandably protective mom.
Given the state of the world today.
Oh, given the perilous state of the world today, yes. That plus the malleability of my adolescent personality in the absence of a reliable and exemplary resident male role model, I'm at risk. You're my protector. Again, really enjoying this.
Is it explosives?
Yes?
It's explosives?
No, I'm kidding. It's not explosives, I would tell you.
If you were making a bomb?
Oh, you'd be the first to know.
If you had joined a terrorist cell?
I would ask your permission.
What is it then, Bobby? What are you smuggling?
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
Civil rights activists, public defenders, defrocked priests.
I was raised by Brenda.
I shall have to meet this mythical Brenda. Your mother, I take it?
The only one I'll ever need.
I envy you, Barabbas, with your loving family and your comfortable life ahead of you. You might be a youthful version of myself. Not as bright, admittedly. You've said so yourself, haven't you? Not as gifted in most ways.
Not as handsome, I guess.
Clearly not as handsome. Of course, I don't have a mirror out here. I may not look my best, but no matter. You've been a big help.
Either way, I wouldn't ask a dog to live here. A pig, maybe. I'm so sorry. That was terribly insulting. You know I didn't mean it.
I know you did, but don't mention it. It's your upbringing that makes you so thoughtless. After all, you have a house and a shed. You're an occupant. What I wouldn't give to receive mail addressed to occupants. To own property like the young Barbarino.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
You're sneaking food out of the house?
Not very well, but yes, a very big plate of very subversive food.
Why can't you eat inside?
Oh, you know the answer.
It's not for you. Are you feeding someone?
I told you
You
this.
never.
I did.
You told me that you were sneaking a big plate of contraband edibles out of the house several times a day.
Yes.
Do we even have that much food?
Oh, I didn't say it was good food.
When did you tell me about this redistribution of wealth?
Isn't it always a good thing?
If the donor is wealthy.
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
Do you want to waste your time on someone with no fixed address?
I wasn't suggesting I'm better than you.
Of course you were, Robbie. But that's just prejudice. Don't let it define you. Resist it. As for me, as an outsider, one gets used to indignity. No one knows his place better than someone who has no place. I am a pariah, and that's all there is to it.
Not to me.
Now you sound stupid. Face facts. I'm barely permitted to look at you, and you can't see me at all. We're not the same species.
Of course we are.
No, we're not. But it's not your fault. I don't blame you for your bigotry. What you think is no more your fault than being short or tall.
I'm average for my age.
Exactly. And so is the color of your mind. You provide me shelter, such as it is. You bring me food, of a sort. You're doing something beautiful. Insulting, if truth be told, but not harmful.
You're insulted?
I'm not. But that doesn't mean your offer isn't insulting. Or should I taste what you brought me before I decide?
I don't even want to show it to you now.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
So which is it? Are we wealthy, or is your mystery diner just hungrier than we are?
Does it matter who gets the food?
To me it does. And who gives it?
Then it matters to me too, Mom. You know that. Okay, you were in the shower?
I was in the shower when what?
When I told you I was taking food from the house, and the radio was playing. Also, you were singing loudly.
I see. So while I was showering, you shouted, "Hey, Mom, I'll be sneaking out of the house daily, sometimes several times a day, badly concealing a platter of food big enough for a small army." Is that what happened?
How long have you been watching?
How long have you been watching me in the shower? Where do you take it?
To the shed.
To the broken down shed in our backyard?
Yes.
To the uninsulated shed with no running water and a leaky roof?
It has a light and an outlet.
Mm-hmm. And rats.
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
You have nothing to hide, my generous young friend. May I call you friend? It's not shameful to be raised in ignorance.
And I'm not ashamed.
But it's shameful to live there.
I compared you to a dog and a pig, and it sounded so...
Hurtful?
Yes.
Unforgivable?
I hope not.
You haven't apologized.
Oh, God. What should I do?
You mean, what should I do? You might as well have me chained out here.
You're right. It's unforgivable.
And yet, I forgive you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Tony. I just don't think I'm doing enough.
There! We can agree.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
Not rats. Mice.
Nice, the size of rats. It doesn't make them pets. Do you like our life together, Bobby?
You know I do.
Are you trying to ruin it?
I'm trying to make someone else's life a little bit better.
I love you, son. This will not end well.
I love you too, Mom. It's worth the chance.
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
I worry about you sneaking out here every day.
I'm not sneaking.
No? The mythical Brenda knows you're bringing food to me?
It was pretty much her idea that I feed you.
Was it? That's very impressive. She must be an uncommonly compassionate woman.
Oh, she is. You'd like her.
I'm sure I will. Beautiful, too. I think we can agree.
But you haven't.
Met her? No. Physically? No. We haven't been introduced, but given our proximity, shadows, reflections in glass, glimpses through the windows, what does she know about me exactly?
Not much, I guess. But enough to want to help. She knows everything I know, I guess. Not much more. No more, no less.
And what do you know?
Brenda and Bobby in the house. Brenda serves Bobby a small meal or snack of ravioli.
Who are you feeding? A family?
Well, you might have relatives. I don't know. So far.
So far?
So far, it's just one person.
A person you're hiding.
A person who is hiding. I'm just delivering food.
Food that you're hiding.
I was, but now it's no secret. You do the same.
Would I?
I think so, yes, Mom. Brenda.
When did you start calling me Brenda?
Just now. You have a big heart, Brenda. You don't begrudge the rich as long as the poor do well. You love it most when somebody with nothing gets everything. Wins big.
Have you rehearsed this speech?
Only every day. Do you like it?
Not yet. It scares me.
Then it must be making sense. You love a chance to make things right. We can't eliminate injustice, but when there's a chance to tip the scales, you help. You care. You give when others take.
Brenda and Tony in the backyard. Believe it or not, it's a meet cute. Brenda outside the house with the table scraps run into Tony near the shed.
Hello! Oh, yourself.
Do you mind if I ask what you're doing here?
A little. It's blunt. Could you maybe start with, hello?
Hello. What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same.
You're asking me what I'm doing here?
That's exactly what I was going for. I must be getting the hang of this language.
I'm the homeowner of that home right there. Of that home and this yard. This associated yard of the entire property, as it's usually called. And I'm out of my house.
Your home?
Yes, my home, but still on the property.
Your property.
Yes! You understand perfectly. And I'm on an errand. An errand that takes me near the shed. My shed, as you would probably call it. The path to which you are now blocking.
The path to which? Is that how it's said?
Yes.
Is that a phrase that's used?
Yes. To which is often used by people who are nervous.
Your house, a property, your shed, and your path to which I am now blocking. Got it.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
I know you'd feel the same. It's all abstract until someone puts his hand out. If you have food, you wouldn't want to see me starve.
When have you starved?
Never. If anything, I'm overfed.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. I eat more than I need. You give me more than I need, and I know why, and I appreciate it. But it's theft.
Eating well is theft?
Eating more than I need is theft. Against the species.
Where do you get this?
From you. These are your words coming back to you. My second helping should be someone else's first. This is my third meal today. I don't need it. Someone living in our backyard needs it.
Bobby, I need time for this.
I eat what you give me, and I try to be grateful, but it hurts to swallow, Brenda. I have to force it down. So I refuse what I can, and I eat what I must. And when I gain weight, it's so someone else can starve.
You don't know what it's like to have nothing.
I wish I did. I need to know what it's like to go hungry.
Bobby and Tony in the shed.
And what do you know?
Your name is Tony. You're in our shed. And you're hungry.
And how do you know that?
Well, how do you know who I am?
It doesn't matter who you are.
It matters while I'm bringing you food.
No, it doesn't. Who you are is irrelevant. It matters what you have. Judging by this plate, you don't have much.
I have more than you.
Ouch. Let's take a moment while that sinks in, Robberino. Latest of a long line of robbers, I'll bet. Have you been right about me all along? Robbery? Or is it me that's been right about you?
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
I'm only trying to provide for my son.
But I need to know what it's like to go hungry.
Huh, you don't remember sucking on a wet rag after I stopped making milk? You've gone hungry, Bobby. Skip a meal if you want to remember.
You won't let me. No matter what I eat, it's never enough for you. It's not your fault, but it feels like I'm eating off of someone else's plate. And the meals just keep on coming.
I didn't know I was torturing you.
Of course you didn't. You're not cruel, you're just brain dead.
Bobby!
Sorry. Unaware then. I am too. We all are. The clocks say it's mealtime, so we eat. Why do the clocks get a say?
You could try to be grateful.
I am grateful, but I don't feel the need. Not as much, not as often.
I'm being attacked for caring about my son.
I'm not attacking you. Well, we're having a civic dialogue.
You're the one whose mouth is moving.
I'm just saying. Stop. Finish chewing. Swallow. Lay down the cutlery, and let's look at what we're doing.
I'm still hungry.
No, you're not. There's food left on your plate, but that's not the same thing. Are you ready to help me in a loving gesture for the good of humanity? A kind dad would have appreciated. You're the mythical Brenda. You raised me for this.
Brenda and Tony in the backyard.
Let's recap. You're on an errand that takes you from your house to or toward the shed to which the path I'm blocking.
Perfect.
And what might that errand be?
It's an unnamed errand.
You make it sound trivial. Why now?
The light is sufficient.
Sufficient to see what?
To see the compost bin.
You have food to throw away? Table scrapings?
You could say that.
I do say that. You seem reluctant to say it.
I have food to throw away.
Food that can't be safely eaten?
Oh, I don't know. It's not spoiled. I wouldn't call it unsafe. Most of it is safe, would be safe, could be eaten.
But instead of sharing it, you want to discard it.
Not discard.
I
Compost.
see. Not discard, not eat it, not donate it. Turn good food into dirt unless I'm misunderstanding something, which I'm not.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
Should we do this, Mom, or should we be hypocrites?
What will become of us, Bobby? It's taken us our whole lives to crawl under a roof on a little patch of dirt, and you're throwing away food into the yard to see what happens?
I didn't invite this. It came to our door, but we can't ignore him. He's hungry. We have food. Okay, I'll tell him to get the hell off our property. I'll tell him to go to a food bank. I think the city has a...
No! Wait, it's just that once you start, whatever it is that you're starting, whatever he is, with who's ever in the shed, it will never stop. You know that.
I don't know that. You don't know that either.
Your father would have done this.
All the more reason, then.
It's what got him killed.
We'll be careful.
I'm about to take moral advice from a child.
Yes, you are. Jesus thanks you. God looks on in wonder.
Asshole.
Aww.
Bobby and Tony in the house.
Please, don't go to any special trouble, Bobby. It is Bobby, isn't it?
We've been through this. I'm Bobby, short for Rob.
Okay, short for Rob. Don't put yourself out. Is that the local idiom? Put yourself out? I never know if I'm getting these things right.
You're doing fine.
You're too kind. You and your mother. I was so touched by her invitation.
Invitation? Well, she wanted to meet you.
Very wise, very protective. She doesn't want anything to, what's the word? Befall her son. Is that it? Befall? Well, I think I could get comfortable here if that's what she requires.
What she requires.
Yes. It means if that's what she needs me to do, or if that's what the situation behooves. I think. Is that right? Behooves? Either way, she made herself quite clear that I was to move in.
Oh. No.
In what capacity, I'm not sure, but we're all adults here.
No, that wasn't what she...
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
Okay.
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 Are you sure?
I said, okay, we can feed him. Him. Who, by the way? What do you call your refugee?
Our refugee.
What do we call our refugee?
Brenda and Tony in the backyard.
How much do you feed this compost bin?
You may not appreciate the difference, but compost turns food back into dirt. I mean, it started out as dirt, you see. Dirt and water and air and sunlight, obviously. And seeds. Anyway, I don't know. Who would want zucchini peels?
Someone probably does, but that doesn't concern you. You have your eye on the cycle of life. It's a big responsibility.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I do. And so do you. It makes you feel virtuous.
Yes, well, I guess it does feel gratifying to be a little part of nature. It's how we all survive, right? Churning the soil and God knows what, other elements, churning them into food and then into waste and then back into food again.
I'd better get out of your way then, unless I interrupt the churning.
Lest, you mean. Lest I interrupt the churning.
It doesn't even sound like a word.
You haven't told me what you're doing here.
I haven't told you anything, but I've learned a lot.
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
What do we call our refugee?
Tony.
Tony? The person we're sneaking food to is Tony?
So he says.
He'll just keep coming back.
No, he won't.
He will.
He'll stop when he doesn't need our help anymore.
Does he need it now? How do we know what Tony really wants?
I love the fundamental questions. How do we know what anyone wants? How do we know he has a brain like ours? How do we know he even exists or occupies the same reality
How
we
do we know he's a refugee and not a desperate fugitive on the run from the law?
Or the future heir to the throne of a tiny country?
They're not the same thing, you know.
I understand that. But they're all hungry and they're in our shed.
I think you know what I mean.
Bobby and Tony in the house.
She's probably expecting me now.
That wasn't what she meant at all.
I don't see how you could know what she meant. Bob, or Rob, Bob. You only had to hear her say the word churning to know what she wanted from me. Leave this to the grown-ups, son.
Listen, you.
Listen, you?
You're in no position to say what anybody meant.
Listen, you.
We say what we mean.
And you mean what you say, and I hear it all. Listen, you. Is that what I have to pay for a few scraps from your table?
Brenda and Bobby in the house.
I've heard enough, son.
Oh, one more. A refugee, a fugitive, and an heir to the throne of a small country walk into a shed. They all starve while the property owner agonizes over which one to feed. We can work out the details some night after a good meal, Mom. When our house is warm and our bellies are full and our future is secure. Is Thursday good for you?
That's enough, son.
The hungry can't afford philosophy, Brenda.
Stop right there.
Sorry, Mom. I'm taking food to a person who needs food.
Bobby, this is so sweet what you're doing, what we're doing, but if someone else fed you, I'd want to know why.
I feed this man because you would. He'll eat today because of you.
What are you serving? Show me the food.
Bobby uncovers the plate.
It's beige. Every bit of it is beige. Go find some colors. We have to have something more nutritious than this.
When did you get a vote on what we serve?
The minute you enlisted my help. Let's do this right, Bobby.
You're the best, Mom. I'll see what I can find.
Brenda and Tony in the backyard.
So, dirt is more important than leftovers.
Now, that's not what I meant at all.
Then one of us misunderstood.
Exactly.
So, what did you misunderstand?
I never said I had an obligation to food.
You did. You said that it was wrong to waste. You said that there's no waste if something serves its purpose. Then you dismember some zucchini, only using part of it. Now you're discarding something that may have use, something that was in your custody.
My custody.
You're shirking your responsibility to that innocent squash.
I'm composting!
I've upset you. I'm sorry. And anyway, you're composting. You're helping these lovely green peelings do their part in the food cycle.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, we've let a romantic encounter go very sour.
You made me feel guilty about peeling a zucchini.
Did I say that right? Can conversations go sour?
Wait, how is any of this romantic?
It's not what people say, Brenda, about composting or anything else. Encounters can be both sweet and sour, I guess. Anyway, I'm the one to blame. I'm standing in your yard. You don't know why I'm in your yard or who I am. The magic I was feeling is not the same as that tingly feeling you were getting. You're out of practice. I hope you want to hold it against me.
Thank you.
Or, rather, I hope you will. We'll get back to our love-making another time. Now, about those scrapings.
Brenda and Bobby in the house. Brenda talks to Bobby while he's off stage looking for food.
There's not much left in the pantry.
Don't take the wrong lesson from this, Bobby. It's not okay to steal from the house to give to refugees or whatever Tony is. By the way, I'll have to meet this Tony. I have a few questions for him. What did you find? Fruits, vegetables?
Candy.
Bobby, no.
It's not beige.
It's not food.
It's colorful.
Invite him in.
That's... No.
Invite him in.
I won't.
What did I just tell you?
Bobby leaves the house with a plate of candy. Brenda and Tony in the backyard.
Why are we still talking about food scraps?
Because you neglect their value. I don't know quite how to say this, but do you think you could, that is, may I, this is so difficult to say.
What could possibly be difficult to say
May
about
I
food scraps?
have them?
You want these? Oh no. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. How could you have known?
I'm horrible. How could I? I can't have you. You can't eat. This will never do. Please come in. I'm putting something together.
Act 2. The unwelcome wagon weighs in. Neighbor and Brenda in the house. Brenda is making lunch. Neighbor enters room without an invitation.
Hi, neighbor.
Oh, God. Not now, please.
When then? Okay.
Okay, now I'm making lunch for Bobby.
You don't like me.
How can you say that?
5 years I've been living next door, and you have never invited me over to your home.
Pop in whenever you want to.
It's not the same as an invitation.
Sorry. When have you invited me?
It's all torn up. Renovations. Aren't you going to ask why I popped in?
No.
No. That's so you. Aren't you going to ask me why I popped in? No. You know what you are?
Tell me.
You're droll. Not sarcastic, there's a difference. Nobody else seems to get it, but I noticed it right away.
Who doesn't seem to get it?
You know, not naming any names. The association. In general. Nobody in particular. I told my husband, she's droll, and he said, you mean sarcastic? He's not perceptive.
He doesn't stop in unannounced.
There you go again. He doesn't stop in unannounced. That sense of humor of yours almost got you banned from the neighborhood.
Yes, and I want to thank you for defending me.
Really?
Yes, deeply and sincerely. You were my champion. And I know you love to hear it, so thank you, if it will end this conversation.
It won't, but you're welcome.
I thought that they objected to my husbandlessness.
Is that a word?
Did you understand it?
They did. Object to your husbandlessness, that is. Among, other things. What are you making for lunch?
Oh, you're still here? Ravioli.
Nobody makes ravioli.
Somebody makes ravioli. They don't grow in the wild.
I just buy it.
You probably also buy shredded wheat.
Well, yeah. You're not telling me that you make your own shredded wheat. Droll! You're being droll. You got me again.
Another one to tell your husband.
Yeah, about that. Your husband. That you don't have. It wasn't that with the association.
I thought it was more of a cultural thing.
Yeah, but I had your back. You don't have to thank me.
I wouldn't, but you won't leave until I do.
That's right. Brenda. Smart aleck Brenda with the droll remarks and the sketchy history and the made-up name for all I know. I live for your indulgence. Listen, it wasn't your husbandless necessity that bugged the association, or your single-parent superioritage, or your isolationistic mentory either. Just know that you wouldn't have been approved if I hadn't convinced them that we needed the appearance of diversity. So, you're welcome again. Now, can we just be neighbors without all the subtext?
The appearance of diversity.
That's right.
Thank you again. Would you like a raviolo?
A what?
The singular of ravioli.
Is that true?
You'll have to cook it, not just heat it up. Are you here on official business?
Semi-official. Words of the wise. There are shadows in the yard at night.
I've seen them.
And the light has been burning in your shed. Also at night.
I'll look into that.
See that you do. My husband is an electrician, if you need one.
That sounded like subtext. Try this. My son is a marksman, if you're ever in the market. Oh, and an insomniac.
Troll!
Good of you to notice.
Brenda presents a plate of food.
Raviolo?
Just one.
Bobby and Tony in the house.
So, what have we here? A house.
This is the first floor.
Are there two?
No,
What? Three?
no, there's just this floor.
So the first floor of one, you meant? That's oddly specific. These are the toes of my foot, Tony.
I see that now.
So you do understand how the toes of my foot suggest you have toes elsewhere as well?
Yes, I get it.
I don't think you do.
Really, my fingers, on the other hand.
You do get it.
I'm not stupid. And you're not always nice. I'm a kid. You seem to forget that. When you're not charming, you're really intimidating.
I hope so. I'm an imposing figure from another time and place, yes? Older than you, wiser, exotic, you said so yourself. A natural leader, I think is what you meant. And it's true. Notice I have you running my errands already. I dominate. Is that a word? I domineer over whatever I survey. No reason to explain.
But for those of us trying to help you...
Gravitas, the Romans called it, Robbie, this quality of mine. I should have been a Caesar. You call this help?
I know the house isn't much.
Let's evaluate, shall we, Rob? Let's compare the what do you have with the what I need and leave the what I deserve for another time. My immediate needs are simple. A snug corner in which to recline, a stone for a pillow, a curtain for a privacy perhaps, so that my nakedness may not offend you. Any little place, a closet, really.
There's a big closet in the hallway, but...
But on the other hand, if you want to pamper me, I get to that. You said it so yourself, so this room has possibility.
I mean, it's a little inconvenient.
Not at all. It has access through the front door, windows into the yard for keeping a lookout. There's mold, of course. The carpet is shabby. Ceilings could be higher, but still.
I meant for us. Inconvenient for us. It's the living room.
Am I dead?
I don't...
Clearly not. Not dead. I am pulsing with red blood and a vascula. Is that what they're called? Vascula, vasculi, lymphs. At any rate, living, not dead. So, the living room for me. You follow?
Maybe a bedroom.
Am I a bed?
Brenda and Tony in the house.
I'm not sure it's appropriate that we share a bathroom.
Well, there's only one.
1.5.
The powder room doesn't have a shower.
I could have fixed up a basin for you in there.
A basin? I don't think I... You can't possibly meet... I'd like you to be comfortable, Tony, but you're here with my permission.
Not so. You opened your doors to me.
I offered you shelter. That's permission. You entered. That makes you a guest. My house, my guest. Can I get you something? Coffee? That's what hosts do. They don't give up their bathrooms.
Bobby calls it his house.
Of course he does. You know what he means and what I mean.
I do. It means he lives here, like me, with your permission.
That's not it at all.
Then you should speak more clearly. You're proud of this house, even as it is, and why not? It suits you. It's adequate for me, too, just barely. Many welfare mothers would be proud of it.
So would every drifter squatting in a shed. Fuck you.
Tony slaps Brenda hard across the face.
Brenda, you used to be so charitable. Don't get up. I need you to talk me through something. Stay down. How did this house come to be yours, if in fact it is?
I bought it, smart guy. I saved for years, went without, deprived myself and my son. I put money down, got the mortgage, and made the payments. Something you might not know much about.
You are proud. So now it's all paid off.
Not even close.
No? They could take it back.
They won't.
It happens every day. They wouldn't hesitate. It's not really their choice. The money makes all the decisions. Stop squirming! This is important. Money, it doesn't sleep, Brenda. It doesn't hesitate, and it doesn't have a conscience. It flows right through the front door and right out the back. You think this is a house? It's a receivable. It's cash flow. You think you're a homeowner? You're a debtor.
At the bank, they told me...
The bank sold your mortgage the day you signed it. It's been sold 3 times since. Money owns it now, and money does what it wants.
I pay my mortgage on time every month.
So you say. Suppose they say you don't.
I take them to court.
Take who to court? A post office box? You don't even know who they are. And if you could find them, how long could you afford to fight?
Bobby and Tony in the house.
No need to answer, Bob. These are rhetorical questions. Do you know what that means?
I,
Of course not. I blame the schools. How many bedrooms are there?
just two.
That's excessive. I need only one. Are they adjacent?
Does that mean side by side? Yes, they are.
And there's no reason that the wall should separate them?
That a rhetorical? Never mind. I'll get the sledgehammer.
Brenda and Tony in the house.
How long do you plan to stay with us?
You want to swipe my credit card?
What do you mean?
This isn't a hotel, Brenda, and you're not a desk clerk. I'm here by invitation, yours and Bobby's, and I graciously accept. The boy is bringing in the rest of my stuff. There's quite a bit of stuff.
This is not.
You don't know what to call me, do you? You haven't addressed me by name. Maybe you are a desk clerk. They have the same problem. How long do you plan to stay with us, sir? Never a last name. Apparently it's unpronounceable in hotels, courtrooms, police stations, wherever I'm tolerated. You want me gone already.
This can't be happening.
Begrudged, not tolerated. I don't feel part of a community yet, Brenda. I don't feel welcome. You're asking me how long I plan to intrude. It's deeply insulting.
I've been nothing but hospitable.
Is that what you call a tray of candy and a leaky shed full of rats?
Mice.
Mice the size of rats? And you send your boy instead of coming out of yourself? That's not hospitality, that's tolerance.
Enough! How long do you plan to stay?
How long do you?
Excuse me?
Think carefully before you answer. This is a delicate phase of the negotiation. How much notice do you need before you get out?
Bobby and Tony in the house. Tony supervises while Bobby hauls duffel bags and cartons into the house and looks for places to put them.
Anywhere at all, son.
Anywhere?
I've been cramped for so long, I feel the need to stretch out, Billy Bob. I must be human, for I feel the need to fill the place with stuff. A dog would use his paws to scatter earth and his own dirt to every corner. You don't want me shredding the carpet, do you?
We'll need a path from the door to... Wait, that was a rhetorical question?
Oh, you're good. What's the answer?
It doesn't require an answer.
Splendid.
However, we'll need a path from the door.
Not at all. You want to be coming through here once I get moved in.
What's in all these cartons anyway?
You might well ask, Rob. I'm building a pyramid, and I'm moving into it early. It's the fear of death that drives us to accumulate, you know. We surround ourselves with things until nothing can threaten us. Sometimes what we gather has a face and a body of its own. We wear it like an extra skin. Then one day, we have too much to carry. We put it down and give it a cold eye. Will it hold off death? And at that moment, we are what we stole, no more and no less. We scratch a square in the dirt around the pile, and we fuck that land with fence posts and then build a pretty house on the scene of the crime. We jail ourselves inside of that house for stealing from every greedy thief who tried to take what's ours. And then we throw a housewarming party. We look lively, but we're dead in our tombs, buried under what we've gathered.
Is over here good?
Fine. Don't stack the heavy on top of the light. Do I have to do everything?
I got it.
Tony and Brenda in the house. Tony is making sandwiches in the kitchen.
As long as I make payments.
Oh, Brenda, you make a payment so you can make more payments. That's all. The land matters. The house matters. You don't matter, except to funnel the money.
What about the deed?
People believe them. Also, they believe God loves them. Nobody owns land. What isn't owned can't be sold. The house, maybe.
Says the man who squats in sheds.
You're squatting too. What goes in your sandwich?
I'm suddenly not hungry. So why am I paying every month?
You have a debt. The debt is real.
I'm buying property.
Popular fiction. You're paying a loan. XYZ wants it and they will get it from you. You borrow, right?
To buy a house.
No. To give to people who lived here before you. Did they own it?
This is ridiculous. They bought it from the people who owned it before them.
And then the people they bought it from the people who lived here before them, and before them, and before
Yes!
them. So, it's turtles all the way down.
Ugh.
Bobby enters.
Turtles?
Your mother thinks she owns this house.
Mom?
Don't listen to him, Bobby.
But turtles?
You think you own the house. You don't. Somebody before you owned the house, they didn't. Ownership can be sold. It can. Where do these ideas come from? I blame the school system. Barbarino, what goes in your favorite sandwich?
Pickle?
Me too. Pickle on pumpernickel.
I have a deed!
Bobby and Tony in the house. Tony supervises while Bobby stacks duffel bags and cartons.
You may think I'm speaking as an immigrant, Bobolink, and there may be something to that. Nomads and exiles have a different intelligence. We're half pioneer and half pack animal lost on the plains. Who knows? Are we escaping from something or running to something? But when we find an open gate, an empty corral, we pull the gate closed behind us.
I think that's all of it. What else can I do?
You weren't listening.
I know the story. We're building a corral around a pyramid. You're the pharaoh, and I'm a pack animal. I think I'm done here.
I'm gonna need a map, Ronnie.
Of the house?
Yes, a map of the house. I'm confused by the layout. I lose my way between here and the kitchenette.
Oh, just take a left at... sarcasm.
Smart boy.
So, a map of the town, you mean?
A map of the town, please, dear Bobby. The town and the environs. Thoughtful child. Good helper. Dare I say, friend? I need to orient. This town is a maze of dead-end streets, but I will sniff out the straightaways, roads that can be sped on, getaway routes.
Are you planning to leave?
I didn't get here by standing still.
Tony and Brenda in the house. Tony is making sandwiches in the kitchen.
Where's the pumpernickel?
I said I have
Nowhere
a
is
deed.
there decent bread.
I have a deed.
That, Brenda, that you own. The deed is yours. Jargon by con men from law schools, useful on a final exam, or worthless to you. When you find a good loaf of bread, trade your deed for it.
It says I own the house and the land.
It does not. It says house and land were deeded to you. Once and again, the tiny type says so, page after page. Lawyers say it's deeded. The earth says no. Earth is not owned. Save the paper to start a fire when they kick you out.
The deed is how ownership is transferred.
How deep is the deed, Brenda? Can you scoop out the first 10 feet of the land you own? The first 20 feet? What's to stop you from digging forever? If everyone agrees the house is yours, you can burn it down. You can put it in a truck and move it. Will XYZ mortgage company let you do that? They don't think you own it. By the way, does the living room have a fireplace?
Yes,
Settled then. I'll infest the living room.
there are 2 bedrooms.
There is one now. We excuse the wall. You two will share.
We all do no
Here
such.
it goes, bobbing for apples. Pickle on phony white bread. I know. Choke it.
I want you out.
You couldn't send them packing a mouse. They own the walls without a deed. We saw them scattered, didn't we, Bubblehead?
It looked like hundreds.
Ants on the pantry, roaches on the cupboards as much as you do. They don't pay loans. They don't need you to move out. They find a crack, move in, and stay. Long after you leave, you should be paying them.
What about the turtle?
Ask your mom about turtles. How's your sandwich?
Best thing I ever ate.
My boy.
Bobby and Tony in the house. Tony is showing Bobby a map of the neighborhood.
I've been illustrating the map you brought me.
Illustrating?
Making notes on it, identifying the best houses, adding words, symbols,
Notating. Marking up.
marking up.
Marking up.
Why up?
No idea.
Your town is quite prosperous, Bob. Your house is not. But many others are. You'll help me scout, right? Partner? We'll need another map for your notations.
What's it all for?
I don't feel secure here, Robbie. Your mother is not as welcoming as I had hoped. I seek options.
I know some nice neighborhoods.
That will be helpful. Here's a good street. This house in particular is promising. Big garage, stuffed with new cars, and I can't read my own notation. Oh yes, copper roof. I'd like a chance to see the interior. The whole street has potential.
For scouts like us?
I like the way you think. We'll start tonight unless you're...
Tonight's good.
Tony and Brenda in the house. Brenda is huddled in a corner of the living room, trying to ignore Tony.
Imagine you want to build a fence.
I don't want to build a fence. Would you like some soup?
An imaginable fence.
This is exhausting.
So, you say you own the land. You want to show what's yours, you build a fence so everyone knows. Maybe you own the fence. That is no doubt. You have a receipt for materials, It doesn't mean you own the land inside of the
I'm
fence.
so tired of your hypotheticals. Would you please just shut up?
Your car is
I
stolen.
don't have a car.
A hypothetical. It's stolen and you never get it back. A year from now, the car is stolen again, stolen from the thief who stole it. What does the thief say? My car was stolen. When did it become his? Isn't it still your car after it's stolen twice? Or was it not yours?
I'm having soup. Do you want some?
They sold you a stack of paper, Brenda, in words that mean nothing. I live here now.
Bobby shows up at the door with his map.
I marked up my map.
You marked up it?
Marked it up.
I'll never understand this language. Go.
Bobby exits. Tony rummages through the refrigerator.
I need money.
I don't have any.
Untrue.
I don't have any to spare.
Because of you improprieties.
My priorities. Yes, my income is accounted for.
You could hire me for what you waste on organic produce.
Hire you to do what?
To protect your home from intruders. Shouldn't you be laughing?
It's funny. I'll grant you.
Bobby and Tony in the house. Bobby is showing Tony a map of the neighborhood.
I found some properties.
What did I tell you?
That I'd find some properties.
And you have.
Oh, wait till you see them.
I'll look at them now. They have to meet certain criterions.
I think they do.
Are they ostentatious?
Yes.
Good. Are they also undeserved?
I don't. What?
Follow this. Could the houses you scouted possibly be acquired and decorated and maintained by anyone earning an honest living?
Those are the criteria?
What should the criteria be? Try again. Could houses be bought and maintained by anyone like your mother and yourself?
Absolutely not.
Is that fair?
Does this have anything to do with turtles?
No.
Tony and Brenda in the house. Brenda is eating soup. Tony is rummaging in the refrigerator.
Why doesn't your son work?
He had to quit his job. It was too dangerous.
Soldier?
No.
Firefighter?
No.
Law enforcement?
God, no. Convenience store clerk.
What's dangerous about that?
He was robbed at gunpoint.
He was shot?
He wasn't shot.
Someone was a shot?
Nobody was shot.
The gun was a fire?
The gun was never fired.
What's dangerous?
He had a gun pointed at him. Doesn't that satisfy?
Like
Tony
this?
points a gun at Brenda.
Sweet bloody cheesecake.
Your life is also dangerous. Always. Whatever you choose. Send him to work.
Tony puts the gun away.
He's afraid.
You're afraid. He'll work for me.
I don't.
You're welcome. A fit boy should not be idle when his mother needs his help. Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And a few steps behind. He's already working for me.
Bobby and Tony in the house. Tony and Bobby enter the dark living room from outdoors by the light of a flashlight. They're laughing. Bobby carries a pillowcase stuffed with bulky items. Brenda is in the room, but unseen.
From the size of the pillowcase, I'd say you did well.
I did really well.
That remains to be seen. First, show me what you kept.
I don't understand.
I want to see how you're taxing me. Empty your pockets.
There's nothing in my
That
pockets.
remains to be seen. Turn them out.
I won't. You can trust me.
I can. That is, I could. In fact, I did. But from the way you're answering me now, I don't. And neither should you trust me. Have you learned nothing? What did you see today?
I'd rather not say.
Say it anyway.
What I saw was so... He looked like he might,
It's all right. I understand why you're reluctant. It's all new, thrilling, but confusing. Turn out of your pockets.
Bobby turns out his pockets. Currency falls to the floor.
That's all?
Bobby pulls more crumpled bills from the front of his pants and drops them to the floor.
I see. You've soiled it. It's moist. It smells like you. Terrified. More importantly, I was right about you. Don't take it personally. I'm right about everyone. And do you want to know why? I said, do you want to know why?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I want to know why.
Yes, you want to know why what?
I want to know why you're right about everyone.
Because everyone is the same, Robbie. Isn't that what your mother is always telling you?
Yes?
Yes, but how does she put it?
We're all equal in the eyes of God.
Yes, that sounds about right, Rob Bob. We just have different ways to say it. So tell me, does it comfort you to be equal, meaning no better than anyone else in the eyes of God?
I I think you've got that wrong.
You've only been given answers and only to certain questions. Given the chance, we'll all take a little from column A and move it into column B to balance the scales, won't we?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I'm sorry.
Show me you're sorry.
Okay, given the chance, we'll all move a little from column A to column B.
Good. Do I need to search you for more withheld profits?
Please don't.
Why not?
It would just be...
Yes, it would. But you want me to, don't you?
No.
Not yet? Take it. Pick it up. Collect your tax. I would have given you more, but now... What will you do next time?
Show you everything?
Hide nothing from you?
Hide nothing from you.
Reveal all?
Yes.
I'm glad to hear it. We've had a good day, Roberto. You please me. You surprised me a bit, considering your bloodline. You have a future. Did you ever think, before I got here, that you'd have anything like a future? Tell me tomorrow. You must have thought, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you must have thought, tomorrow will be like today, which was very much like yesterday, which closely resembled 100 days prior. You don't think that now. Take your booty to the shed. No, wait. You might have thought, this mother whom I love, this mother who is everything to me. Perhaps you stopped right there. Did it trouble you to have just one influence? Never mind, I'm boring you. Take your booty to the shed. No, wait. Has it occurred to you that you might owe yourself a second, more rounded perspective? Go. I don't know why I bother.
Bobby gathers the currency into his pockets and exits, leaving the pillowcase on the floor for Tony.
I handed you a good boy.
She speaks from the darkness, from her own despair, from the shadows of the life she never imagined she could have.
Shut up.
The mother who thought she could lead by example. The parent who lacked the spine to keep her boy from danger.
I handed you a good boy.
Sorry, Brenda, you didn't hand him to me. I took him, and it was easy. People flow like money, always up. What I took from you got moved along. Bobby belongs to the cause. And let's not talk of a goodness. You saw how quickly he shucked that skin. I know him better.
Brenda and Bobby are in the shed with a wheelbarrow containing a clumsily stuffed pillowcase. Brenda is idly poking at the loot through the fabric.
What's in the pillowcase, Bobby?
The night sweat of troubled dreams.
What's inside the pillowcase, Bobby?
Proceeds.
Is that what you call other people's belongings?
That or revenue or profits. The take.
How are we going to get through this, son?
Beats me. Can't begin to justify what I'm up to.
Then quit.
It's not that easy.
It is. You say, I'm through with this.
Maybe you could.
I could say that to Tony.
Then tell him. Tell him I didn't mean it when I opened the shed to him. Tell him the food I brought was a tease. Tell him I'm a phony, that I'm all talk. Tell him I don't care about equality. I feel guilty for what I have, but it doesn't make me generous. You can't predict how people react, Mom. I wanted a bicycle. You know this, something to be proud of. Every night on my rounds, I kept an eye out, and then a beautiful thing presented itself. In a garage not far from the park around 2 a.m. Not by chance. I jimmied the door, the light came on, and there it was. Red with gold pinstripes. Good tires and a second set of brake levers on the handlebars. Can you picture it? I've had bikes, Mom. Sorry, I was never deprived, but this was a show bike. It was arrogant. Reflectors on the pedals, a 15-gear shifter, a lock in a custom bracket, a pump in a custom bracket, a water bottle. That bike would have changed directions for me. But it was better than I'll ever be. And I knew it. I couldn't live up to a bike like that. Within a month, I would have wiped it for prints and tossed it from the bridge. Turned myself in. And then the strangest thing happened. As if it was a girl. If it was a girl way out of my league. I was walking that bike one-handed down her daddy's driveway, also holding a pillowcase full of stuff I had no claim to, trying to keep the loot from tangling in the spokes. For one moment, I had it all. and it all put me at risk. Halfway to the street, I triggered a motion sensor light, and there on the deck was the owner of the house, in cut-off PJ bottoms and a Penn State t-shirt, carrying a bat. Who cuts off PJs at the knee, Mom? So many of these things in the world make zero sense to me, but I can't stop seeing them.
So this is the point of your story? He shortened his PJs?
No, it was his attitude. He had a bat, but he wasn't wielding it. It wasn't a threat. He was one-handing it with a barrel on his shoulder. He came to survey and assess.
You can stop now, Bobby. I know the rest.
But you don't. That's my point. Right away, I know the guy. Not to talk to, but from the hardware store, the bakery. He's a neighbor. He's kin. Same town, same mayor, same zip code, same water, same air, same sports team, same anthems. We're the same person within an order of magnitude. His kids are in my class, maybe. I don't know. And then, oh, fuck, I do know him. I've seen him at games. His daughter is in my classes. He's the cheerleader's dad. One of them, anyway. He's a Puma Power Pom Pom Pop. Such a weird thing to be proud of.
So that's your point. He's proud to have raised a cheerleader.
No. It's what he did. He might know me, he might not. I stand still in the spotlight and wait for his reaction. I'm rolling a priceless bicycle out of his garage with pillowcases full of loot from God knows where. What's his move?
He scratches himself.
Oh, how did you know that?
Casually, right? He scratches himself absent-mindedly, as if he's looking at what happens every night, as if he's watching squirrels hang from the bird feeder or scanning the sky for Orion the hunter.
You're freaking me out a little bit.
Without taking his eyes off you or releasing the bat, he lets his free hand slide down his shorts and he digs at his balls as if he wants to tear them off. They offend him.
That is so wrong. So disturbing.
Well, what did happen?
He looked at me without much interest and he said, "What do you think you're doing?" Not what the hell am I doing? What do I think I'm doing? Like I might be mistaken. I don't answer. I think I'm stealing his bike and all that implies, but he's right. I'm clueless. He knows what I'm doing and he knows what I should be doing, and strangely, he knows I'm not doing what I think I'm doing, and I gently ease the bike into a shrub. I don't want to damage it. I respect it, and him, his house, and his calm, and his tolerance. I return to the garage for a wheelbarrow to haul the rest of the loot. It makes more sense for the both of us. By the time I leave, he's back in the house.
Tearing off his balls in the family room.
What is with you and his balls?
They're not his, Bobby. He's a fraud.
He's packing someone else's balls?
Yes! He came into possession of all sorts of things. That house on that street with the long driveway and the garage is full of irresistible vehicles. His mistresses and the long-suffering wife. Believe me, she has stories. The trophy daughter who pretends to be your friend in her pleated skirt and her leather sweater. It's none of it meant to be his. And you let him keep what he wanted, Bobby. You didn't take his pom-poms, but he knows that he doesn't deserve them.
Is there more to this story?
Before he left this world, Bobby, your dad taught you to recognize the stars. Do you remember this?
I don't see the relevance, but yes,
We'd
I
stand
remember.
together on the edge of the park where I could watch you from the kitchen, and he'd challenge you to call out the constellations by name. Barry the knife sharpener. Cecil the hunchback who gutted fish. Celeste the red-headed ice cream vendor. You'd name them all and laugh. Right or wrong, you'd laugh and come back home so happy. He loved you, son.
I know that, Mom. But you're wrong. Those were the names we told you. Celeste was the red-headed pole dancer.
And Barry?
Oh, Barry was her pimp.
How are we going to get through this, son?
Brenda and Tony in the house.
We contain a small flame, Brenda. You do. I do. Each of us do.
Each of us does.
Each of us does. Us does. We, which is a plural, do. But us, which is a plural, Does? We do, but us does?
It's the each that matters.
What is the each that matters?
Each of us. You're saying of us, each does.
I'll never get it.
Nobody does. What's your language, Tony?
Not English. Shall we start again?
Let's do.
Let's do. For the record, that's let us do. Us do. Just saying. We contain a small flame, Brenda. This sounded so much more profound an hour ago.
Go on.
Thank you. Our bodies shielded that flame from wind and cold, from invasion. Life depends on it. Lives of those who are welcome, lives of those who are not. The flame is the thing.
Every parent knows that.
I'm not a parent.
We can still talk.
Thank you, Brenda. You're so patient with me.
I know the flame, and I know the need to protect Tony. I know the need to kill, if needed, to protect it. The obligation to protect it, if it comes down to mine or someone else's. My son's or someone else's. I want my child to stand a chance.
You think he's at risk?
Of course he's at risk. Every mother's child is at risk. I die a little every time he leaves the house. And lately he's not much safer in the house. He's putting himself at risk, and I can't help him from home.
Body is just the first shield, Brenda. The home is the second. Body shields flame, home protects body. Neighborhood buffers home from town, town insulates neighborhood. Any intrusion threatens the flame, your flame, his.
You're already in our home. What's left? I don't see how you're protecting him from anything.
He makes his own decisions. You don't give him enough credit.
He's a boy.
Topic for another day, maybe. Boys are just men who haven't learned what's really important.
Act 3. The government pokes its nose in. The zoning officer and Bobby in the house. The zoning officer suddenly appears in the house with Bobby.
I need a minute of your time.
Whoa, nobody knocks around here. Who are you?
You do know there's no actual, door.
Still.
I need to ask a few questions. Then I'll get out of your way.
I bet.
Pardon?
It's not really the way it works, is it? It's not. You have a few questions, I answer but not fully, which arouses suspicion, which leads to more questions that are actually veiled accusations, which makes me even more evasive, and pretty soon I'm in jail for obstructing your notion of justice. Did I miss anything?
Where's your mother?
Woohoo! Woo! Oh. Who?
Your mother?
Your mother?
Are you finished?
I doubt it.
Am I so amusing?
Oh, yes.
Where is your
Oh,
mother?
that depends on who's asking.
It shouldn't.
You're so right, but it does.
Let's say I'm a friend who's holding her winning lottery
Oh, in
ticket.
that case, I don't know where she is.
Okay. Well, let's say I'm a meddlesome minor bureaucrat from the township zoning office who loves to push his limited weight around when it's legitimately within his jurisdiction.
This township?
This township!
Oh, in that case, I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. I have a question about the deed to your house.
And I have one for you. In all your career, how many times have you showed up unannounced in the home of someone in the township with a question about the deed?
Funny thing about that. See,
I'm not sure it will matter.
well, see, the thing
You
is,
have my partial attention.
have you knocked down some walls in here?
Who would do that?
Have you?
I don't see what business that is of yours.
You don't think it's precisely the business of the local zoning officer? Is that your position? It's not my business that you eliminated interior walls? Interior walls that might have actual consequences once removed to create a hazard to all occupants, not excluding at this very moment both you and me? And that you did so without, correct me if I'm wrong, contacting your local building inspector?
What was that again?
Also, if I'm not being too intrusive, what's up with the hundreds of overstuffed pillowcases in the living, dining, sleeping, bathing, entry foyer space you've created here? With insufficiently grounded outlets.
I'm gonna have to plead ignorance on that one.
Noted. Literally. I'm making a note in my notebook, which I brought with me, in case I encountered anything notable, which I most certainly have. I'll be back with reinforcements, and perhaps a court order, and some 2x4s to keep the roof from falling in on us. Tell your mother I stopped by.
She'll be delighted to hear it.
The zoning officer exits. Bobby calls out.
You know, we're just trying to do the right thing here.
Tony and Brenda in the kitchen.
Brenda. I know you hear me. Brenda.
Fine.
What do you mean, fine?
That's the answer you want.
You don't know the question.
The questions you ask are always the same. The answer you want is fine.
I have some friends to entertain.
Take them bowling.
It's that wit that keeps me coming back. I'll bring them here, despite the accommodations. You'll provide snacks and the entertainment.
I won't be in.
Where's that famous hospitality, Brenda? Mustn't get stingy. Mustn't prejudge. You have a reputation, speaking of which,
Fine.
in the area of entertainment.
Fine!
No conditions?
A few.
Humor me.
That your friends be as charming as you.
Friends was generous.
That your associates.
Lackeys.
That your lackeys be as charming as you.
I'll put them on notice. Charming lackeys. I like where this is going. You're showing genuine character. The sort that can get you in trouble.
In addition, that your lackeys all be clean.
They will be. As clean as this kitchen.
In addition, that I see them one at a time.
That will be hard for the Siamese twins.
Cute.
You can close one eye. Otherwise, fine.
In addition, that I may degender them one at a time as part of their entertainment.
Degender, you've invented a term.
Do you like it?
In this context, it's clear. By what means did you wish to degender my lackeys?
I was thinking knife.
I'm not quite sure you're joking anymore.
Brenda flashes her knife.
Does this look like a joke?
The way you hold it? Yes.
Tony snatches the knife from Brenda.
I'll find another. Knives are easy to find.
Weapons are everywhere, Brenda. The will to use them is rare. This one is dull. I'll sharpen it for you. I wouldn't want there for be to any prolonged sawing. I mean, they're lackeys, but they shouldn't suffer needlessly. You'll be doing me a favor to eliminate them.
Agreed. You can prep the knife.
Fine. Anything else?
That you be last.
That won't be necessary. I don't need to put you out. Is that the phrase? Put you out. Out you. Put out you. They all sound right. As you know, I'm not a native.
So you say.
Anyway, I'll pass. You've done so much for me already. Plus, I'm fond of my pom-poms.
I'll entertain you last, or I'll entertain no one.
Fine, as you like to say. We both know you'll do none of this, Brenda. You'll yield. You'll smile. You'll grumble, but you'll deliver. It's your nature. You're the reason I stay. Expect us at 8. I told them 6.
It's already 7.
Exactly. Lackeys. Make sure the boy is here.
That wasn't the deal.
It's the deal.
What do you need from the boy for?
It's not me who needs him.
Tony is gone. Tony and Bobby in the house. Tony and Bobby survey a living room full of pillowcases awkwardly stuffed with loot.
We're gonna need more room.
I know where we can get some shelves. I hope you're not thinking.
Is that a load-bearing wall?
Tony, please.
What did you call me?
Boss, please. Mom and I sleep there. It's all we have left.
What happened to the shed?
Nothing.
Then there's a shed, that's all I'm saying. Move those against the wall.
Bobby moves some pillowcases.
Are you feeling all right, Bobby? Are you happy with the work? You seem unenthusiastic.
I want to do what's right.
You are doing what's right. This sick culture of yours needs a reform. We're the solution. I knew from the day you brought me my first meal that you were generous and stealthy.
It's not a crime to bring somebody food.
No, but it's not innocent to sneak it from your mother's refrigerator. You're enterprising and flexible.
Me?
Resourceful and principled, but not squeamish. You're motivated to serve, to share, to ease the burdens of others. And if rules have to be bent, right?
Is that what we're doing, boss?
You know it is.
That's what you keep telling me. You think I'm enterprising?
You're my top producer, Bobby. Call me Tony. You've earned it. You're not like the others.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony and Brenda in the house.
I am you, Brenda, except for circumstances. Quite a few circumstances, I grant you, but still just circumstances. You're prettier by a little, younger by less. But otherwise,
Shut the fuck up.
you're me, or you would be if you had lived my life. I am you, except for our life histories. We are, or whatever has happened to us, no more, no less.
What happened to you?
I didn't find the love here I was hoping to find. This town, this country, not as welcoming as I had hoped. Except for you, of course. You and your marvelous boy.
We have our limits.
So do I.
Give me back my son.
He's not mine, Brenda. What I sense you lost, he's not fully yours now either, is he? That must be hard.
He's not the same boy.
Good for him. He was nothing when I got here. He was Brenda Light. He still isn't Bobby, Robbie, Baba, Rob, Bob, Robert. He has no personality, Brenda, but he's forming one. We're inventing him, you and I, right now, by giving him the things to do. His behavior will set him on a course. He will become whatever the world declares him to be.
The world doesn't give a shit about him.
No, it doesn't.
In a better world, he'd be magnificent.
Not my fault.
He might resist.
For a time, but not in the long run.
He might.
He won't. He'll look out for himself.
He'll consider my
They
needs.
will factor in. He will become, to put things bluntly, whatever the next few hours declare him to be. He'll act. The world will react. He'll back off or double down based on qualities we can't fathom and had no hand in shaping.
I've done every part of shaping him.
Yeah, we'll see.
I need to meet him, face to face.
Meet who? Who?
Your person, the one you need Bobby to...
My lackey? Why do you want to meet my lackey?
His life is in my son's hands. You put his life in my son's hands.
Feeling special? I need someone dead. I chose Robbie to help me. That makes him special. It doesn't give you any privileges. No, you want to meet him. I don't see that going well. But I'll give you a choice.
Take it.
That was hasty. If I could give you one piece of advice, Brenda, don't respond out of instinct. This is your choice. Decide for him.
Decide what? Decide for whom?
Decide for Bobby whether my lackey lives or dies, and how.
He should live.
Then Bobby dies, thanks to you. The consequence of your hasty decision. If the lackey lives, Bobby dies, which would be a shame because Bobby is useful, whereas the lackey...
What do I do?
Person to person.
Heart to heart.
You have to kill someone, Brenda. A common human predicament. Also, an opportunity. This one should be simple. Would you carry out an execution to prevent your son from doing so? And thereby, is it thereby or therefore? And thereby, keep your son alive to make his own decisions in the future? It's how the species survives. Piece of cake, really. Is that the saying? Piece of cake? Or is it simple as pie?
Brenda and the cop in the house. Cop enters without an invitation wearing a very complete uniform.
Bleeding three-bean Jesus.
Ma'am,
I didn't call the police.
I'm aware of that, ma'am.
I thought about calling the police.
To report a crime
Is this what happens now?
is what? What happens
Are you
now?
monitoring our thoughts?
Why were you thinking about calling the
You
police?
tell me.
I'm sure I couldn't say.
But you expect me to answer your questions.
Ma'am,
How's this? I'd like to report a home invasion.
now we're getting somewhere. When did it happen?
Now! It's happening now!
I see. That's droll.
I get that a lot. This smells like entrapment. You show up unannounced, ask me confusing questions, interpret my confusion as non-responsiveness, and then whatever happens is a legitimate police action. Do I understand the situation?
Were you thinking about reporting a crime?
You have a one-track mind.
And you're all over the fucking place. Ma'am, sorry. It's my training. Do you want to report a crime?
I do have a question, but first I want to apologize.
Please don't. We both said things we regret. What is your question?
What rights do I have to resist a home invasion?
We get this one a lot.
I knew it. Because there's so many home invasions?
Because there's so much fear. Do you own a firearm?
Should I?
Do you?
No?
Take mine.
Cop hands Brenda a hefty service revolver.
Why did you give this to me? It's heavy. Is it loaded?
Of course it's loaded. Point it at my face.
Now this really feels like entrapment.
Point it at my face.
I mean, I want to please you, but you've been very patient.
Point it at my face!
Brenda points the
Persuaded.
revolver at Cop.
What game are we playing?
Could you pull the trigger on an invader?
You mean, could I shoot Tony in the face?
Wait. Tony? Tony's not an invader. You invited him.
You know him? Why were you laughing? How do you know him?
We get this a lot. You invited Tony. It's a pattern. Any more questions?
Why did you come here?
Oh, to warn you about a series of home burglaries.
What's that got to do with me?
Lights in your shed have been on at night. A known felon has been living there.
That's nothing to do with me. He's just hungry.
He's just Tony. We're telling everybody.
If I came to the station,
Talk to the captain.
I'd rather talk to the commissioner.
Even better. He and Tony are good friends.
Bobby and Brenda occupy the living room. Dozens of haphazardly stuffed pillowcases crowd the floor.
I thought I could save him.
I told you he'd keep coming back.
Mom, please.
Sorry. Did you ever wonder why at his age he still needed saving?
Nobody ever treated him right.
So he says.
So I've seen.
Have you?
It's awful. The way he's looked at, Mom. Inexcusable. I'm ashamed of the whole town. Except for you.
I haven't done enough.
What are you saying? We've given up our home.
That's not what I regret losing.
I'm here, Mom.
For how long? He steals Bobby. He fences stolen goods. He has you steal.
Chicken and egg, maybe. Treat someone like a criminal.
That doesn't apply to you. This town didn't turn you into a thief.
I'm done with that. Maybe I can convince him to quit too.
Bobby and Brenda busy themselves with knives and other hazardous implements.
Yeah, have a hat big enough for that head.
It does seem unlikely.
So what are we doing here, Bobby?
Bold corrective action.
Bobby holds up a scalpel and a cleaver.
Bold and deeply desperate action.
Grant you it's extreme, but where's politeness gotten us? Today we'll give him a chance to redeem us both if he cares about us.
Both you and him, or both you and me?
Do you need saving?
I need something.
Bobby sharpens a knife.
Bobby, good and evil are both...
Incremental? You said so before. But look how quickly things got desperate. I feel responsible. You're going to tell me I didn't do anything wrong.
No, I'm not. You did plenty wrong. This has been the wrongest week of your life.
You're going to tell me nature is stubborn.
Human nature, most of all.
And the odds are long that anyone will change.
I'm glad you picked up on that.
It means I'll always be the way you showed me.
We're partners, Bobby. You said so yourself.
Brenda picks up and handles a knife from the collection.
I let you feed him. I surrendered the living room, my bedroom, a house I fought to pay for. I acquiesced. I accommodated. I gave until I thought I was empty.
But you're not.
What's the plan?
We'll never know. Tony enters speaking to an unseen compatriot who does not follow him into the room.
Not my only complaint, but your numbers are down.
Tony sees Bobby and Brenda each with a knife and assesses the situation, still speaking to his compatriot.
Stay outside. Something is taking its course.
Now he speaks to the room.
Bobby, Brenda, you puzzle me. What are the knives for?
Human sacrifice.
Funny boy. Any specific human?
Again, we'll never know. Suspecting the worst, Tony disarms Brenda easily as before. This time, he holds the knife against her throat.
You've got to move out, Tony. We need our lives back.
Don't be dramatic. You have your lives for the moment. Are you sure you're assessing this situation correctly? Damn it! Is it assessing or accessing? With a knife to your mother's throat, I appear to have the upside hand.
Shows your lack of imagination. And it's upper hand.
Thank you. Assessing or accessing?
Assessing. To assess. To make an assessment.
Thank you again. Well then, what now?
We love you, Tony. But you've got to move out.
Move out? You must be joking. Brenda, what do you say?
We love you, Tony, but you gotta move out.
Or?
There is no or. This isn't a negotiation.
Oh, but it is. The way I assess the situation, it surely is. I plan to stay until we find a better place. Shouldn't be hard. You'll work for me. Brenda will do what she does best.
Bobby drives the knife into his own chest, then removes and proffers it in Tony's direction, his still beating heart, which spouts blood when he squeezes it.
We love you, Tony. Take this.
Tony is at last speechless. In shock, he releases Brenda, who goes to Bobby's side, then turns to face Tony.
I love you, Mom.
I love you, Bobby. I love you, Tony. Take whatever you want, but go.
Brenda takes up a knife.
Do you need another heart, Tony? A spare, maybe?
As Bobby did, Brenda poises the knife against her chest.
They can be easily broken. Just say the word.
End of play. And now there will be a brief conversation, and you can stay. Everybody should stay. Everybody should stay. Yeah.
David, I would invite you to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bright light.
Yeah, the lights, is it possible to just put the house lights on or something? So we can see the audience? Thanks.
No questions? Okay. Excellent. I have just one for you. How many plays is this? Just one? Is it just one play? Or does it feel like halfway through it turned into something completely different? And on the last page or two, did it become a third play? Just a question. Yeah. That's all. That's my question.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Oh,
Why
yeah,
do you
of course.
say that? Because I've never heard you say that about this play.
I haven't said that about this play.
No, I know, why do you say that?
Oh, because watching it, it felt like, well, from the slap, it becomes a very dark play. After being funny for quite a while. It becomes a very dark play, and then it turns into some kind of spiritual, metaphorical, fanciful play on the very last page or two. So it feels like three different plays to me. So I'm struggling with that. It's a reading. This is why we do it, I think. It's not supposed to be done. It's not done. But it's fairly well along. That's all. Yeah.
Can I answer your question about the three plays? I think is one play, and I think these are layers, and you have the base layer that is the basis which stays there with us right to the end, and then the next layer and the next layer. So I see it as one play.
Okay. Good. Good. Does it transition well then from the one to the second to the third? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just kept thinking of like the big picture of accommodating. I just kept thinking, maybe because of the accent.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of Ukraine, you know, accommodating somebody or something that's scary, and giving up a little more and a little more and a little more until you don't realize that this thing had a plan,
Right.
and that plan was you.
Yeah.
And so I think it taps into, things that are going on around us.
Right. Without, I think, being overtly about any particular thing. I don't really want it to be connected to a particular political reality.
I think that's going to happen depending on whatever.
Depending on whatever's happening whenever it's
formed.
on stage, yeah.
The thing I think is if you look backwards at the play, it's not three plays, but it feels inevitable. That it will go this way. Like the slap obviously changes the tone, and from there it's a different tone, but it feels like, if you're looking back at it, again, not while you're watching it, but looking back at it, it feels like
It had to go there.
that's where that's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it's less distinctive there. I get it there, but my point is, I'm saying, I think it's more than three layers. I think it's maybe 5. I think they're there, or the possibility for staging it to show these tiny little steps. And I'm thinking of the building rocking way up here, and it's all there. It's all there. Yeah, you can draw lines, but they're all there.
Yeah.
Or they're potentially there.
Yeah. The three characters played by the one actor that provide the community, do they work as representatives of the community, the people that had to be there, so it wasn't just those three characters that perform necessary functions? They work pretty well for me. Yeah. Actors wondered, and tonight they played it as if they understood perfectly. Actors wondered, why is Bobby so rude to the zoning officer, for instance? Tonight he played it just as I hoped he would, so completely undermined by Tony that he no longer knows who to trust or what to believe, and he responds to this person with perfectly rational questions about what's going on in the house, as if he's under attack, because he feels so completely under attack now that he just super sensitive, feels like he's under it. And Brenda does the same thing with the cop, just feels like they're being entrapped by anybody who asks them a simple question. That was there for me tonight. I don't know if it translated to you too. Like, anybody who walks in the house now is an intruder and deserves to be and needs to be treated like a suspect, a potential harm.
I love the Tony character. I mean, that was very, very well done.
Oh, thanks.
It was,
Yeah, he's a hell of a character. Yeah. I think it's Bobby and Brenda's play. I think it's their play. For me, he's fate, right? Yeah. He's fate, and he acts it out on them. Yeah. Anything else?
I'm
Questions for the
curious.
actors?
Questions for the actors as you move through the rehearsal process, and also, for Kelci, because so much of this feels like representing as opposed to something very finite and specific. So as you move through the reading process and directing this, how did you come to layers of understanding of what you thought the moment represented or the characters represented? Yes, that's my question.
It was a lot of just kind of collaborative conversation, and just, this is what this brings up for me, and this is what this reminds me of, and David kind of brought up the idea that it's not supposed to represent any one particular event or issue, but that it's sort of this amalgamation of different things. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, and also it felt like, to borrow a phrase from the play, it felt very incremental. Like, I feel like even just doing this reading, I was like, oh shit, that's what that means. That's why he's saying that there. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think throughout it, something that I think Kelci and David have both kind of said is to, play each scene kind of as it is written. Play jumps around so much between different characters and different points in time, and to just play the lines and play the action as genuinely as possible, just on a scene by scene basis. And I think that helped me a lot in trying to tackle it.
Thank you. The other question I had for Tony with your accent, was there a specific decision made about the accent or a nationality that this character would embody? Or how did that?
There was not. I think in keeping with the theme of the play, I was a little bit trying to keep it vague. I think Tony's such an agent of chaos that it's like, I think it lends itself to being just this. He's from somewhere, but you're not quite sure where.
Yeah, that suits me fine. I didn't want to know where he was from. Not English is how he describes his language. Yeah.
That's a good decision. I think it was a good decision to do that.
I do too.
It makes him represent that.
I thought it was a brilliant portrayal. Yeah, I was very happy when I heard it. Wasn't what I expected, but I was really happy when I heard it.
David, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
How do you think it would play with actors of different ethnicities, of different races?
I'm open to any. I think Brenda is described by the association neighbor as giving the appearance of diversity.
Yeah.
So I think it might be helpful if Bobby and Brenda seemed a little bit alien to the neighborhood they moved into as well, so that they could feel and maybe be more likely to be welcoming to someone who came in. So I think that might be a good way to go. But I prefer a play that works on its own terms and doesn't have to reflect a particular reality that we would recognize as the real world. I'm completely happy with any kind of casting that anybody wants to make that they can make a case for.
It worked for me when there's saying that she is, what was the term you just said?
The appearance of diversity.
Appearance of diversity. And what I like is when we're looking and trying to figure out,
What could that possibly mean?
Well, how is it diverse? Yeah.
and trying to figure it out, and that's kind of fun. Trying to have us try to figure out what the hell is that appearance,
Yeah.
and that fits the kind of the mayhem that's on its way.
Hmm.
So,
I have to talk a little bit about your fun with language, David. Having done a davidbdale play myself, a lot of those devices you use were a lot of fun, and of course, having a non-English speaker in there gave you a lot.
It made it. It was open season in English. It was really
well,
fun.
I can just see your brain working on this. But anyway, I enjoyed the humor in all of that throughout, and compliments to the actors for pulling that humor out of those little pieces. Because,
The time that there were times when I thought, how many more times can you do that? But apparently it was funny every time. And I'll tell you what, the time it pleased me most was at the very end when they're just about to stab themselves, and he's still worrying about assessing or accessing. God damn it, which one is it? I just thought, if you can take the humor all the way up to the edge where they're just about to rip their guts out, that's the edge I was looking for.
and that's what I meant by that layer, that bottom layer. Is right there.
You're right. You're right. That funny, playful, what is going on here thing just proceeds all the way through. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. Thank you for acknowledging that, because it felt that way to me too. As dark as it gets, it's still working at the same level.
Video guy's going to jump in here for a second too. The heart.
Yeah.
I think about that as a designer.
Yeah.
I think about how would I design this play. where it's so shocking, it will be so shocking.
Yeah.
That moment will be so shocking. I wonder if you have any feelings about dropping in intimations of that kind of theatrical choice, or if you're interested in just blowing people, like the play that goes wrong, everything falls.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Well, it wouldn't hurt if, for example, when Tony's got a knife to Brenda's throat, if there was a little blood.
Yeah.
There's knives and there's guns, and so it's not completely unexpected that something violent will happen in the end. I think that's well prepared for. So if there was a little accidental spilling of blood somewhere along the line, I think that would be perfectly appropriate. We don't do any of it here, but I want that part to pump. I want that bloody. I want it dripping blood. Yeah, yeah, it's gotta be there. It's gotta be there. All right. Well, I can't thank the theater and the staff and the management here enough for giving me this opportunity. I am so grateful to South Camden Theater Company and to everyone involved for nurturing playwrights and the community the way you are. It's a wonderful thing. This outreach is really important, and it's meant a lot to us at the Philadelphia Dramatist Center. I know the actors are all thrilled to be involved in something brand new in a place that some of them are familiar with, that a lot of them aren't. And I just think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing here. I'm very, very grateful for it. Really honored and gratified. So thank you very much. A round of applause for you. That's all for me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.